What is up? First to the floor, Celtics late night, joined by Dan Greenberg, Greeny. I'm Jake Eisenberg. Celtics lose. They do lose.
Did they? Was that the Celtics that you watched?
They do lose, but it's as close to feeling like it was a win as I think a loss can feel like. We'll get to the Jaylen Brown ejection. Yeah. Tatum minutes restriction, plus still clearly working off the rust. No Peyton Pritchard. Spurs go like magnet ball. A lot of stuff working against you, and you hung in. Granted, a couple of banked threes helps you hang in to the very end.
They still count. Those still count.
But like, I thought it was a very encouraging loss.
Yeah, I mean, they've won something, like 15 of their last 17. So it's been a long time since we've had like a true moral victory. And, I almost want to say they've played their way past the need for moral victories, because factually it was a 3-point game with 9 minutes to go. Like, you did enough to put yourself in a position to win. You just didn't execute. Well, then you have the context that you provided, Tatum minute restriction. And you remember he hit the 3 to bring them within 3, but then he had to come out so that you could close with him and give him another shift. Like, in an ideal normal world, he plays that whole fourth quarter. You know what I mean? You play through him the next 3 or 4 possessions, but you can't be mad at that. And then obviously no Jaylen, no Pritchard, and you were right there. And it took, I think the Spurs hit 23s. Wemby was an alien. Like, they made you challenged them to beat you through shot making. And at the end of the day, your legs and your shot making came up short. Theirs didn't. You take it on the chin. It's not like losing to the Spurs at home, who have won 16 of 17, isn't like a bad loss when you're missing, 3 rotation players. It's just one of those you were in a position to have, and you really would have been sweet to pull that out, with everything that had happened.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it would have been cool just to see it with Jaylen Brown in the game.
Right.
It was an awesome game, even with Jaylen Brown getting ejected. Man, he was playing really fucking well.
Yeah.
Really fucking well. And in the 2 games since Tatum had come back, he'd been fantastic. His third quarter against the Cavs was electric. In this game, they really struggled early to get going. It was like, oh man, it was one of those like
it was the same 11-3 start, just like Cleveland. They got down 11-3 and they ended up winning the quarter by 2 because he had like 5 or 6 assists in the first quarter. It was the way he's reading the floor. You're just it's so annoying that happened, because maybe you could say, well, Ron Harper Jr. sort of made up for it with 22 points, but like you could have had that and whatever Jaylen was going to give you. And even if it wasn't the points, just the defensive attention, like maybe some of those Derrick White threes or Sam Hauser threes are more open in the second half. Like I think Hauser, I don't think he made too many shots in that whole second half. And I think part of that was, Jaylen's attention and how he was able to read the floor and command, the defense's attention. So to lose just that gravity and the way he was reading the floor was unfortunate.
Yeah. I loved the mentality from Jaylen early. Like, he sparks that 10-1 run. I forget if it was before or after Luke Cornett came into the game. Oh no, he went straight at Wemby.
He went straight at, and that was the first no call that like pissed him off because he got tackled.
Gave him the too little. Gave him the too little. Incredible. He was in the corner for one play where Carter Bryant was on him. Wemby had like come over and swallowed up a corner of the court. He splits them and then finds Hauser at the top of the key for a 3. He was on.
But that's the stuff they didn't have in the second half.
Exactly.
Like Hauser's looks were much different in the second half, just because of they lost how Jaylen was reading the floor.
Yeah, and even defensively, so the matchups were tough, right? Wembanyama, he's insanely good. And I thought Joe was onto it as far as adjustments go. He was like, okay, there's just no point in having like Cater out there and running these screen and rolls, because Tatum found Cater on a perfect screen and roll, and Cater went straight up with it, and it wasn't even close to having a chance. Wembanyama just swallowed it up. And so Joe's like, okay, if we're going to do it, we got to spread them out, go Gaza. They
Mhm.
went small, and I thought that worked. But then defensively, if you're not going to play Tatum and you're going to either play Gaza or go small, you end up with Shireman on Wemby. You're not
Right.
you're not willing to do Tatum yet, which I think is the correct decision. I think maybe
Mhm.
if the finals match up, which there's a final,
And in theory, maybe you would also have Vucevic to throw at
Yep,
him and bring
yep.
him away from the rim. It was almost like, we're going to make Wemby beat us by making 8 threes, and he made 8 threes.
Yeah.
Like, credit to him. He's ridiculous. But I'd rather him
Season
shooting from
high.
30. I'd rather him shooting from 25 feet than right around the rim. You saw it. He had that one drive where he doesn't even have to dunk or jump to dunk. It's like, you got to pick your poison. I think the issue was a lot of the other Spurs, were given maybe a little bit too much daylight on their threes. Because again, you're not going to beat good teams giving up 23s. You live with Wemby making 8. There was just too much space on some. There was this one play where Garza was like in super deep coverage. Like, didn't even know if he should contest that Keldon Johnson. Keldon Johnson like stopped and was like, "You're just going to dare me to shoot this?" And he did, and he made it. And I just think there was that, and then a combination of a couple just margin turnover momentum plays that they had, I think, 5 points off of that helped just give them I think it was 2 Baylor passes that led to 5 points that were tough. Like you were within 3 to 4, and then it was like now you're at 7 to 8, and you got to deal with Wemby who's not missing. It's just, those small plays add up when you're shorthanded and you're not able to maintain the pace of shot making.
Look, the Spurs are fucking good, man. And they shot the plan was to shut off the paint. And they did a pretty good job of that. The Spurs shot 25% of their shots at the rim. That's in the 23rd percentile. The Celtics, the game plan was we're
beat us from 3.
Try and beat us from 3. And Wemby's a good 3-point shooter. I thought they let him get a little bit too comfortable early.
But even still, like every time he takes a 3, I'm like, at least, there's a 50% chance that's not going in, as opposed to a dunk or anything around the rim. That's 100% chance going in. So it's like, you just have to tip your cap. If he's going to make 8 threes, like, okay, man, like check, like, good job. Like you've earned that win by beating them that way.
They played a similar defense against the Cavaliers and Evan Mobley. And Evan Mobley is not Victor Wembanyama, whether it's like Wemby's proven to be a much more capable and willing shooter since he's entered the league. This is a season high of made threes for Wemby. The best he'd had so before this was 7 for 12. So lucky us getting the most made threes from Wembanyama this season. You have Stephon Castle, who, not credit to him, 3 for 8 from 3.
Right, and he's a 30% shooter.
30% shooter.
And it was just ones that, like, if he doesn't make, those were like the momentum makes that you just, become the difference. And I think we saw down the stretch, there was a couple, Tatum misses. There was the Hauser. He had one where he was like running off a curl that he just like skimmed off the rim. Yeah. Like those were the threes the Spurs were making. Tatum obviously had that big one to bring it, I think, within 5 with 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is still encouraging because like that's the second game in a row he's in a clutch time 3. That's like, I'm noticing that. But then there was like the Keldon Johnson make in the corner, and late in the fourth quarter. They just it's okay to tip your cap and say you challenged them to make the momentum threes and they made them. Like that's basketball sometimes.
The Spurs are on pace to like get close to 60 wins in the Western Conference and have a dude that's on the trajectory to be one of the all-time guys.
I just don't know what you do. I just don't know what you do with him.
I thought they did a great job. I thought like some of the defense on him, like when he did drive, I think it was smart for Wemby just to focus on shooting threes because like every time he drove, he got to line. Like
I think he had 5 turnovers, right? Like
he
went nuclear from 3, but outside of that in the first half, I felt like they did a decent job just with late help and giving him different looks, but you can only do that for so long before he just says, all right, I'll just make 8 threes in your eyeball. And that's that.
He was 3 for 10 from 2 and 6 turnovers, crazy. 39 points, obviously, and like only 2 blocks. I thought like as far as how they approached the Wembanyama experience, Derrick White came over the top late. It was a foul on Gaza for a block. Hauser got in there for a block. Like there was a ton of really good stuff defensively. De'Aaron Fox, I've always been a fan of him. He was tough tonight. Just like I love the way that he's fit and like into the gaps on this team. He's not high usage at all, but he ends up 11 for 14. Like that's just
crazy. I feel like he used to do that shit when he was on the Kings too. I feel like he's always shot well against the Celtics, at least as of late. And he's just another guy. He had big momentum turnaround jumpers, big momentum three. He had the steal on Derrick White, because they didn't have Peyton Pritchard for the ball pressure and the ball handling. So it's like, this wasn't a game where the Celtics played like shit. They made 19 threes. They, put up 111 points without Jaylen Brown, essentially, because I think he only had, 4 or 6 points before he got ejected. So it's like you had 3 main rotation players essentially not play. You made 19 threes and put up 111. The Spurs defense is one of the best defenses in the league. So it's like the Celtics played well. The Spurs just made more plays. Like you don't have to hold your head, you can keep your head held high knowing that like you were going, it's kind of like the first game where they only lost by 5. It's like, all right, we went blow to blow with you without Jason Tatum and you beat us by 5 points. It's a moral victory and that's annoying because it's like when you're this good of a team, that's a game you should have won. You were within 3 points in the fourth quarter, but you're operating under unique circumstance.
Yeah, the moral victory only feels like a moral victory in situations like this. If you're a Celtics fan, because we don't do moral victories, and like now that the reality has shifted from where we're at the beginning of the season, the middle of the season, to a week ago when Jason Tatum had not come back yet. The moral victories are going to be harder to come by. But tonight, especially, JB getting ejected gives you the out in that way. I guess let's talk about it briefly, or however long we want. Doesn't really matter. He got fouled. It was a terrible miss of a call. He absolutely deserved the tech. I think you can make an argument that he may have deserved the second one. What sucks about it, more than anything to me, is the dude that came over the top and decided to make the hero knock call.
Yeah. So
I'm a loser.
Right. Like by definition, the way he approached Tyler Ford that second time, you would say, okay, that's an easy second tech. But the fact that the head ref and Tyler Ford was letting that go, and like you said, you had that third party. So it's like, clearly, I don't even know if he should have gotten the first tech. Because I always have an issue though when an official makes a mistake and then compounds his mistake with a tech because he got called out for being wrong bothers me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That just
but like, but sometimes they're gonna miss calls. So I guess your point is so it's like I don't know. I think if you go at the ref like aggressively like that, one tech is fine.
I was very surprised to see him lose his shit like that. He has not lost it like that in a long time, I feel like. But it's the second game against the Spurs that this has happened to him. And then you add in the shit that would happen against Utah. And it's just one of those where, his frustration maybe boiled over. But like, there is that 2% of me that's like, I really needed you for this game, Jaylen.
That's the thing.
You can't be getting tossed, but I understand why he did. And it's kind of bullshit how he did, but there's always that 1 or 2% of me that's like, you could have just stopped at the first fuck you and like be done with it. It's like, and just moved on to the second half.
Yeah, I think 2 things could be true. Getting ejected in that spot was fucking ridiculous, and that ref is a loser. And it just gives off the energy of like, you've got no friends. Nobody, like, the dude that comes to the thing and you're like, you're nobody really wants you to be here. It's like, that's energy that dude gave off. Everybody sitting at home is like, fuck you, please.
It's crazy.
Be here ever again. But you also have to understand the makeup of most referees, and especially the Tyler Ford. It's like, you complaining and yelling at the ref is not going to help us win the game.
Right.
And so you do put your team in a
now.
Bad spot.
Do you think he did enough to be? Do you think he did enough to be suspended?
That would be so embarrassing. That would be so. He already got suspended.
Like, oh, he went at a referee after the fact. Like, delay in leaving the court or something. Like, I don't know, because he's like this is like a second offense for him.
I think of it similar to when Jalen Carter spat on Dak Prescott in the NFL and got ejected in the first play of the game, and they didn't suspend him because he basically got ejected. That's how I would look at it. It's like he's basically been suspended for a game already. So
he'll probably have like a $75,000 fine or something and call it a day.
They won't, because they got the game against the Thunder. If you like,
they may not suspend him. He's definitely going to get fined though. He'll definitely be fined for.
He'll be fined a lot.
That's going to be. I mean, listen. Good thing he has the Supermax, but he's probably got.
I'm not worried. But
part of me is like Joe will probably just be like, "I'll pay your fine. That was so erotic. Like, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Like, for that show." I wouldn't be surprised if Joe just like slides him a nice little check.
I will say I thought Missoula was the most animated on the sideline like I ever see him. Not as much as when he jiu-jitsu'd Sam Cassell earlier in the season.
Yeah.
That was pretty awesome. But today on the sideline, he was like very animated after a ton of calls. I think that the Spurs got the benefit of the whistle. Obviously getting Jaylen thrown out kind of proves that point. But I think he was in his bag coaching wise, or at least like, you have to try to get in your bag coaching wise, whether it's the matchups defensively, offensively. And so I think that he was into this game. It's a measuring stick game. And I think you come out of this game feeling good. And like you come out of this last week feeling good,
but I don't know what the deal is with how they're back to like not guarding threes. And I just don't understand. It reminds me of their little skit in January where they were or December, January, where they were just giving up 17, 18, 19 threes a game. And it's like, I don't know. Every team you're going to play in the playoffs is pretty much a good offense outside of the Pistons, right? Like the Cavs can get hot. The Knicks can make threes. It makes me nervous how they're just deciding to play super drop coverage. They're not really running people off the line. I don't know. It's like it worked for times, but you could also make the case that how they defended the perimeter was a major contributing factor in how they lost. So it's hard to gauge.
Yeah, I thought the Spurs won a ton of possessions, but I thought defensively, I love the way they're flying around. Man, the Spurs were just really hard to get off their spot. Then Carter Bryant comes in, hits those two corner threes. You are right, though. There was a big element both in the Cavs game and this game of like, hope you miss.
Right.
And so it does remind you of Miami Heat 2023. Kind of reminds you a little bit of Josh Hart in the Knicks series.
Right. Like dare you to beat you. And teams, it's how the Knicks defended the Celtics in those first two home losses. It's like, all right, until you make a shot, prove to us that you can make it. Because it's better for you to be shooting from 30 feet than from 10 feet. And it's just, when it doesn't go in, it's like, all right, great. This is a great strategy. But I don't know whether they.
But then it goes back to what you were saying earlier,
right?
It goes back to what you're saying earlier. Then we're giving up paint stuff,
right? Because you can't switch, right? Like I don't want Garza on De'Aaron Fox in space, so it's a pick your poison type deal.
And if you start running guys off the line, their guards are like Dylan Harper, electric off the bounce. De'Aaron Fox, electric off the bounce.
Stephon Castle getting into the paint,
fantastic finishing around the rim.
So it's a pick your poison. It's like I would rather
the Spurs are good.
Right. It's like you live with a 30% shooter and Castle making 2 or 3 threes. Yeah. You live with, I don't know,
Evan Mobley
only have like Bryant. 10 or 13. Right. Because remember, Mobley made his first few and then he missed like 4 straight in that third quarter and it killed their momentum. Tonight they just made them. You didn't. They did. Because again, how many times would the Celtics make 19 threes and lose is like very unusual. And I think they had under 10 turnovers. So it's like those two things combined is usually a recipe for success.
Yeah. You win the turnover battle 8-11. You lose the offensive rebounding battle 9-5.
5 offensive rebounds is crazy. That almost makes me nervous about, a big part of this offense is second chance points, extra possessions, winning that margin. If you're going to be playing teams with size in the playoffs, and you can't have an extreme advantage on the offensive glass, that margin is taken away. Then it comes down to execution and shot making. That's how I think they lose in a playoff series, of if their offensive rebounds just disappear. I mean, Luka Garza, I don't think had a rebound in 24 minutes. That's insane.
A little bit more difficult when you're trying to get offensive rebounds over Victor Wembanyama. No,
Right.
but look, there is a case to be made that the success of the Celtics from this season may be nerfed to a degree once we get to the playoffs. They are playing harder than 95% of the teams. The offensive rebounding, the forcing turnovers, all the margin stuff could start to shrink in the playoffs. The idea is right now is that you replace that margin that you're losing with
Jason Tatum.
Right. Who is great with the margins because he helps you on the defensive glass. He helps suppress your overall team turnovers, and he helps you generate more clean looks from three.
Right. And you would hope in another 6 weeks, he'll have a lot better and more consistent shooting rhythm. You know what I mean? Like right now, I don't give a shit how he looks or how he plays. Just the fact that I get to watch Jason Tatum play basketball is good enough for me. The fact that he had 24 points in 27 minutes tells me, he just needs to see the ball go in a couple times, get a more consistent rotation where he's not on the restriction, so that when he's on a heater, you can just ride if this were a playoff game and it's 6 weeks from now and Jason Tatum has 7 straight points in the fourth quarter, he's probably playing the whole fourth quarter.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, it's very interesting to watch. It's like on one hand, I said this last pod, is he going 6 for 16 because he's rusty, or is he going 10 for 24 because sometimes Jason Tatum has like a 3 to 5 game stretch where he goes like 10 for 24?
We can't sit here and pretend I haven't seen him go 2 for 8 from 3 or whatever. You know what I mean? Or him just maybe have a couple of possessions where he's chucking and trying to force it. I don't know. He's Jason Tatum. He's allowed to do whatever the hell he wants. At the same time, he hasn't played all season. I need him taking whatever the hell shot he wants so he can get familiar with that. The one-legged three, I had no problem with it because I've seen him make it. So just get it out of your system and get familiar with it so that you can because he probably would have already attempted 10 of those by this point in the season. He has to make up for that lost time.
I just saw scorched sauce. I can drive a car with my feet. Doesn't make it a good idea. Don't you have to drive a car with your feet to a degree? What do you?
I think you mean steer. I think you mean steering wheel. But even still, if you were good at that, I would say go ahead, cruise around the block every once in a while and see what happens.
So the pull-up threes, you can definitely he can go 10 for 24 as normal Jason Tatum, but he's definitely very clearly working through some rust. And some of that today I think was partly rust, partly Spurs defense related, and trying to figure out Stephen Castle's coming over these screens, these guys that are athletic and good at getting over screens. And then there's Wemby and Cornette in the drop, just a little unsure of the timing of the pull-up threes because the one-legged one, get it out of your system. I think is a good way to put it.
And I think he got kind of caught in between a shot.
That's what I mean. He doesn't usually I think he's going to get less caught in between. He's he's overthinking, am I going to get downhill or am I taking the pull-up three? And
honestly, his pull-up threes that he missed that don't even look close aren't even really his normal pull-up three because his body is moving forward. He's he doesn't come to that complete jump, stop, and rise. It's more his momentum is carrying him, so he's almost shooting it as he's floating in the air, which is just not it's just not gonna have a consistent jumper with so much movement of your body. When he comes hard, comes off a hard screen and steps into it and takes it, and it looks like the normal off-screen Tatum pull-up, those are the ones that he's making. He had that bank shot that was off the movement, which looked kind of crazy, but that was mostly a prayer. So I've noticed the bricks that are nowhere close are the ones that he's taking where he doesn't really have his feet set and his momentum is taking him in a certain direction as opposed to just up and down.
Yeah. There's that looks the weirdest out of anything right now to me is the pull-up threes because he's getting the thing that looks awesome and is the most encouraging thing. Well, I think the driving to the rim
Yeah,
And
he
the
had
finishing
good
over
drives today too. Yep.
the finishing over Mobley clutch yesterday in the Cavs game. He had a couple of
Fournette tonight.
Wemby went right at
Yep.
Cornette, getting down into the lane. So
That's the Gordon Hayward mental block that I feel like we didn't really see a lot when he came back. I haven't seen Tatum shy away from contact on drives, not trust himself on drives. You know, I'm sure they could be a little bit quicker, a little bit more powerful, sure. But just the fact that he's willing to do it, and this is game number 3, and he's converting on some of those plays through contact is like, okay, in a month from now, it's going to look even better.
Yeah, that to me is the most encouraging. So he only took 10 twos and was 6 for 10 from 2 and was 4 for 14 from 3.
That's
So
the Jason Tatum I know and love.
that's
That's the guy I know. That's my man right there. That's my guy.
Yeah. And
4
it's funny,
14 from 3 with some that you're like, all right, that may as well have been a turnover, but you're Jason Tatum. You're allowed to do whatever you want. That's how we live in my house. He's Jason Tatum. He can take whatever shot he wants.
And today, like of the guys that played big minutes, Jaylen was a +1, but like Tatum was a -1, but Derrick White was a -14, Cater was a -10, Hauser was a -9. So like of the guys that played big minutes, Tatum had the impact, and when he was out there, had only the 1 turnover, was helping on the defensive glass. The Tatum experience through, is it a week now or almost a week? He's played 3
Friday.
games.
So he debuted Friday. So it's only been like 4 days.
Man, what a whirlwind. Like, so the minutes restriction is clearly at 27.
27. Yeah.
And he was asked about it. Classic Dave, you're a bad influence on Tatum.
Listen, I don't care, man. He's brought me so much joy. He's allowed to do whatever the hell he wants. He's waited 10 months. I don't care if he shoots it from half court through his legs. Like, if that's what he needs to get ready, then that's what he's allowed to do.
Yeah, classic Dave telling Tatum to stop the behind the back passes. You're
No,
talking to
that's
the wrong
one of my
guys.
favorite things that he does.
Talking to the wrong guys.
Yeah, man. The pick and pop with behind the back pass won us the championship. How does he think Al Horford got the ball in the corner? Like that's
one of the greatest moments in Celtics history. Yeah, I recommend I've missed it. We had the first one really today, the first good one, the one behind the back to Gaza, which you missed unfortunately. I missed it.
You've started to see Jaylen do that a lot too now.
Yeah, I love it. So 27 minutes per game, 3 games. He was asked about it afterwards, like, could you play more? I thought I saw a couple of moments today where he looked gassed to me, which is to be expected. He's already like, I don't know about you, but I was expecting like 20, anywhere from 20 to 24 on the high end minutes restriction when he came back. To be already at 27 is a win. And I'm guessing like every 7 to 12 days is going to be a increase. So like the Wizards or the Suns game, I imagine we're going to see him play 30 minutes or something like that.
Now, when do you think he gets like an injury maintenance day? Because it is kind of crazy. He just played 3 and 5.
Yeah.
Like,
I was thinking the Suns game because they have the Thunder game, which he's definitely going to play. But I really want him to play in the Wizards game. I think that'll be good for him.
Bam just scored 83.
Exactly. So, maybe Tatum can have 40. Like, obviously playing the Thunder, I would like him to get some work against the Wizards. And then you have Suns, but then the Warriors game is a national game at home. So I'm thinking
if Steph doesn't play, does that even have juice? If Steph doesn't play?
I mean, no, but just the fact that it's Warriors, it has more juice than the Wizards, Suns, Grizzlies games.
What if they do give it to him on Thursday? What if they hold him out on Thursday?
No, they can't. That'd suck. They can't hold him out of the Thunder game.
I don't know. What would that? That would be 4 in 7 days. 4 games in 7 days.
It's a fair point. It's a fair point.
I want him to play. He's an Iron Man. I'm just thinking like, I don't know shit about Achilles maintenance, but I just feel like that just feels kind of crazy, especially with the gauntlet of team. I don't know. I mean, I hope he plays, but like, because then do they have any? What's the days off situation following?
It's day on, day off, basically.
Okay. Is he gonna play 5 and 9? Like,
that's why I think the Suns game off makes the most sense to me. or the Wizards. I don't really care.
Yeah.
I him playing the Wizards game
because there's a couple back-to-backs to close the year. He's probably not playing in, right?
No,
and then he's probably not playing in the finale because, like, why would you risk it in the last game of the year? Yeah. So, he's already played 3. Argument. So that gives him another 14 to play, give or take, without any injury or maintenance. I don't know.
It's not the worst idea to skip the OKC game, as the chat's pointing out, where against Luguentz Dort.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I just
injuries,
and I'm still nervous every time he takes a contested 3. I'm doing nothing but looking at his landing space, being like, "Don't you fucking dare get close to his ankles, or I will find you." like, please. So I don't know. I hope he plays, but I'm also like, at some point he has to get an injury maintenance day, I would imagine, just out of precaution. But then I also think, like, maybe they think that he needs to play so he can get his conditioning up, so he can have a jumper for the playoffs. So it's like, how are you gonna balance it? And it's why I don't find myself getting mad when he gets pulled in games for his minute restrictions. Like today in the fourth quarter, like normally that would drive me up the wall for him to get pulled. But now I'm like, it's such a blessing to be able to watch him play at all this season, that minutes restriction Jason Tatum is better than no Jason Tatum, even if it comes at a time when he's starting to catch a rhythm.
I think what we can feel good about is that whatever they do is the right thing for a guy that is now come back on the shorter end of the Achilles thing and looking as good as he is. Clearly, they're doing what is correct as far as the recovery process goes. So if he plays, great. If he doesn't
play, great. It's the same mantra as when we didn't know if he was coming back, but now now I'm like, I got a taste, and I'm like, I need you to play like 35 to 40 minutes a night. Like, I need that back in my life.
I'm assuming you're doing the same thing as me, as like when he does go off, though, you're like just checking the bench to make sure he's still there. Because there was a period in the Cavs game where he wasn't on the bench for like,
he goes to the bike. He goes to the bike.
Show me him on the bike.
Show me walking to the bike.
Yeah. Show me him on the bike. Because there was like a 12 to 15 minutes of real time where I couldn't see him, and no one mentioned it. And I was like, this is torture.
And I still freak out every time I see him do like a negative step or anything. Sort of like anything, really, to be honest.
Anything. Anytime he drives, I'm like, please, Lord, just everything go right. And like, think about how he must feel. I said this on a recent point. Even when I play basketball now, and like I do like a false step and like take off, my brain's like, that's an Achilles. That's how you tear your Achilles. Because that's all I can think about since Jason Tatum tore his. I can only imagine how hard it is for him.
That's what I mean, like the mental, but that's what's encouraging, that he's still battling and embracing contact. Because I just remember, I feel like Gordon Hayward didn't enter the paint for the first like 8 months after he returned. Like, he just refused to be aggressive.
Yeah.
And I just feel like if Tatum sees a window, he's attacking it. We just have to get to the point where those moves are quicker and more powerful, which will come with game reps and game conditioning.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Again, the fact that he looks this good with 17, 18 games left.
I mean, it's certainly better than I expected him. I mean, I didn't know what to expect, aside from he'll probably be pretty good at Jason Tatum. But like, the thing that is just standing out to me most is he's making late game fourth quarter threes. Like, catch and shoot threes for him in high leverage situations. That tells me he can still have the games like game 6 against Philly where he's like 2 of 15. But when you need him in high leverage situations, he's still that guy.
You know who is that guy? Derrick White fucking tried his darndest tonight.
Love that man.
Holy shit. Kenny Atkinson, I think, was right. And like, big picture, it is crazy. Like, Tatum comes back and you kind of go like, these old mental neural pathways you have of like, oh shit, Tatum's off. How are we going to win? And then you're like, oh no, we're on pace to win 55 games without Jason Tatum this year.
We've learned how to survive already, right?
Not only just survive, we've survived without Jaylen and Jason. And Derrick White's going to go off for 34, 7 assists. And like, there was a stretch where the Derrick White Tatum 2-man game, how I missed you, screening for each other. And they took turns cooking Wemby.
No,
they took turns toasting Wemby. Derrick White down low, pump fake, finish. He was.
It was kind of the Derrick White I think we all thought back heading into the year that we were going to see with his, added offensive load. Especially, it's just the shot making from three. The floater game was going. The aggressiveness was there. It really wasn't an issue in terms of, a lack of self-creation because, he was able to get downhill and finish, with patience at the rim. It's just one of those, like, this is the Derrick White we have been seeing the last 2 or 3 years. He just couldn't make a jump shot for the first 5 months of the year. He's shooting got to be over 40% over his last 6 or 7 games from three on pretty high volume. So,
well, he was only 3 for 11 tonight, which doesn't feel right. It was all kind of in the paint, and then they had to force it like late. They just went.
That's what I mean. They ran out of the gas. They were letting go of the rope, and that's where you got like Jaylen. The Baylor three, the Hauser three, the White three. They were all just short, and they pulled away. It was kind of not too different from the Nuggets loss. Where they just couldn't make a shot, and the Nuggets pulled away.
Incredible from Derrick White, 40 minutes. That's a dude that could fucking use a night off. And I was freaking out. He tried to block Dylan Harper at the end of the quarter and then went down holding his knee as they went into break. That was terrifying. Yeah. He finished the game, but as Uno in the chat pulls out, didn't look the same after he got injured. Possible. He also played 40 minutes and was doing it
right. Because it wasn't like the normal Derrick White 40 minutes that might also have Jaylen's support, where he probably has close to 30. It was a heavy load of Derrick White with a minute restriction Tatum, who was also inefficient for the most part, and no Jaylen Brown. So it was like double the weight and no Peyton Pritchard. So it's like, and no Vucevic. So it's like, who the hell was going to score in these non-Tatum and non-Jaylen minutes? Like, he had to do everything.
But you know who did score in some of these minutes? Ron Harper Jr.
He's the next.
What's going on here?
He's the next, Celtics University, Celtics Super Serum.
What?
I mean, he's a legitimate NBA player. He's a legitimate NBA player.
I really like him. The length, the 7'3" wingspan or whatever it is. It was cool to see him and his brother going at it. That was really cool. But before this, it's mostly been rebounding, some defense, and pretty good on catch and shoot threes. But tonight, getting downhill, finishing. And he had one part the
lob to Keita.
The lob to Keita that he got fouled on. And I was like, we're kind of seeing it all tonight.
I know. It's scary to think that Jordan Walsh barely played. And it was another case of just Mazzulla pushing the right button. You would think, I guess Walsh is in the doghouse because he lost the challenge against Phoenix. Okay, it happens. But he has just found a way to push the right buttons at the right time. And especially with I feel like every time he's gone to Ron Harper Jr., he's responded. It's maybe only 1 or 2 times he's given you a dud. I think maybe it was the Nuggets game or something like that. I can't remember. There was one where his shooting came back down to earth. But for the most part, he's answered the bell just like every other young, unproven wing has this entire season.
So are you familiar with because the shooting, Jaylen mentioned it after maybe the game where he was missing shots, and he said Ron's one of the best shooters on the team. And
I think he was was he the G League MVP or he was
I don't know if he was the G League MVP, but his 3-point numbers in the G League are kind of crazy. Career 38%, but the last
good enough for me.
2 seasons he's at 40. And per 36 between since he came to Maine, he's at 11.5 attempts per 36. And then in college in his last season, he was at 39.8% on 6 attempts per 40. So it's he's put together a pretty big sample size of being a high volume shooter.
He's the next system. It's like a conveyor belt of they're just spawning these wings that fit their system in Maine. And you got to think he'll be converted maybe the last, kind of when Drew Peterson got converted on the last day or whatever, so he could be part of the playoff roster. But I wouldn't hate giving him a guaranteed deal if you need cheap wing rotation. He's proven to you he can be an NBA player, and he's going to cost you $2 million a year.
I'll be really upset if we lose him. I think he's legit. And I think when you think about this playoff run, I know it kind of seems crazy. And I love Ugo. I love Walsh. But Ugo is being left butt naked open in the playoffs. Ron Harper Jr. can knock down these threes, and you're losing some.
I believe in Jordan Walsh's catch and shoot threes too. If they leave Walsh open, I believe in his catch and shoot threes.
I agree. I think, but I guess I think him more so than Ugo shot for sure. But Ron's got a much bigger track record of knocking down shots. So when I fast forward to the playoffs, and I'm like, who are you gonna? If you need 7 minutes, 8 minutes. 10 minutes? Do you like?
I almost got to try Ugo first because
I think that's fair.
And you give him 1 or 2 catch and shoots, and if they're not close, like I think what we're seeing from Baylor,
like tonight,
I think Baylor is pretty much, I feel like, earned his playoff rotation spot, right? So you're really talking about Ugo, Walsh, and Harper. I think they've all proven to where on any given night in the playoffs, you feel confident in giving any one of those 3 a shot. And if it doesn't work, Missoula has shown the ability to yank that guy and put in someone else. And I think none of those players have shown you they're not capable NBA players. So it wouldn't shock me. Jaylen picks up 2 early fouls. Maybe one game they go Ron Harper. Next game they go Ugo. Yeah. Next game they go Walsh. Like, I think it'll be matchup dependent. And I think it's just whoever makes the most of their opportunities. Like tonight was Ron Harper, so you didn't really need Jordan Walsh. Maybe the next game, it's Ugo who has 16 rebounds without Jaylen Brown, and you can't take him off the floor. So that's just the beauty of the young talent is they all show flashes.
Yeah, I would be sad to lose any of Ron Harper or Walsh. Walsh is still so young, but Harper, the proven shooting track record to have a night like tonight, 6 for 9 from 3, 8 for 11, couple of really nice passes as I mentioned. That corner 3 where he changed his trajectory to shoot it over Wemby's contest and then like completely nothing but the net. I was like, oh man,
there's signs. There's just
doing stuff for me.
It's just another Brad Stevens find that anybody could have made, and of course he was the one to do it.
Do you like the 3-and-D printer thing that's going on?
Oh, I like that. Okay.
Have you not heard that on the Drew Carter mentioning that on the broadcast?
No, I guess I just have missed it.
No. Yeah, they've been. I forget. So I don't know how they came up with it, but yeah, 3-and-D printer.
3-and-D printer, Stevens,
yeah. Which makes sense because they literally have 1, 2, 3.
I hope you're counting Hauser. I count Sam Hauser as a 3.
I count Hauser. Okay. Hauser undrafted. Baylor 30th overall. Ugo 28th. Walsh 38th overall. Ron undrafted. That's insane. And all of them have been very good.
Yeah, they're all positive contributors. Remember, we were like, oh, what if Brad can't draft? Turns out he finds NBA rotation players through undrafted and low second-round picks.
He should only be allowed to draft in the 3rd round to make it fair.
I feel like he trades down it's like, the landlord says, like, raise my rent. It's like, give me a lower pick to see just how low. Like, Amari Williams at 44 is probably going to be another hit. So it's like, you got to go deeper than 44 to find a Brad Stevens miss.
Yeah, I need you to take away my best player's Achilles. I need you to steal Drew Holiday and Porzingis and Horford with the second apron. And I'm going to get under the dude. I mean, that's the big thing from all of this, and why I think that the losses can't hurt as much is because when you rewind 10 months,
right?
When we're on that,
this has all been a dream. It's all been a dream.
What are we talking about, man? Like,
and with this loss, they're still 3 up in the loss column for the 2 seed. It's like you're not going to win. You're not going 82-0. So losing on the road to a team that could win 60 games with a 7'9" alien who just can't stop, extremely shorthanded without your best, guy who was playing the best that night gets taught, like, it's okay. Yeah. It's just how it goes.
So
we've had too good of a season to be upset about losing to the Spurs on the road.
Do you think you're going to be able to, if coming to this season, if I told you that they'd get under the tax, not just under the second apron, they get under the tax. All these guys would exceed expectations. Tatum would come back with 20 games left, look like Jason Tatum-ish at this point. and then you would lose in the second round to the Knicks, would you sign up for that at the beginning of this season?
Yeah, I think so.
You have to, right? Even though if that does be the thing that
Because like
happening,
I just,
suck.
if you're telling me I get to see Jason Tatum play basketball again, I'm okay with whatever outcome comes of that. It's tough because it's like their profile is a team that would have championship title expectations, but this is sort of also like a free house money season in terms of the caliber of play. It's like
it is.
They're going to reload this roster, I would imagine, to some degree this summer to get that extra hump back into true contention. While I feel like the entire basketball world is giving Jason Tatum a grace period of the rest of this season. So it's like it would be painful to lose that series in the second round. But if you told me in October that I would feel what I have felt for the last, however long it's been since October, and I get to see Tatum play again, I'm taking that option, because they're probably losing in the second round without Jason Tatum anyways. So I'd rather be able to watch him play basketball.
I love this comment. Not showering a ton of praise on Brad until he wins a few more championships. Maybe it is time for you to go to bed. I don't know, because it's hard to win multiple championships in this day and age. But yes, I'm really trying to balance that because it's impossible to view this season as anything other than a win. Right. But the more of Jason Tatum I see, and the more of this team that I see, the odds makers are agreeing with it. It's like it's a house money season, but they have a real chance to win a title. So I'm like trying to just hold on to the house money aspect of it. Right. Because right now it's lining up. The Celtics, as I've go to playoffstatus.com, 85% chance to be in the 2 or the 3 spot. And the Knicks have a 67% chance to be in the 2 or the 3 spot with a 27% chance to be in the 4 spot. And to me, that Knicks team is like the worst matchup. I know like Celtics fans like to clown them still and the cat thing, but I've been watching them.
They've played them tough. They've played them tough.
They're good. They got a lot of talent. They got the size to make it tough. They got guys to throw at the Jays.
But that's what I'm with you. Like, that's why I'm trying to be with you of like, it is mostly win, can't be too upset. And that's why I'm like, you were down 3 with 9 minutes to go. Like, that's a game you should win if Jason Tatum is playing.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah. All of it can be true. It's going to both. It's a good place to be. If the house money get under the second apron and tax seasons, you're also title contenders.
Right. They somehow they have threaded they threaded the needle about as perfectly as you could, right? Because you didn't have to give up a main rotation player to recalibrate your roster. You gave up Simons. Okay. We knew he was getting traded since the day he became a Celtic. It was more just a matter of what are you flipping him for? You didn't have to give up any other rotation players to get under the luxury tax. You gave up 3 players who hadn't played for you in a month. And you're contending. It's like you did the exact needle threading that did not seem possible. And you have now set yourself up to now pay your own players over the next 3 or 4 years, because my guess is they're going to add someone underneath. They're going to add someone probably for 12 to 14 million next year, still stay under the luxury tax. And then they've reset the repeater for when it comes time to pay the Walsh, the Pritchard extension, the Hauser. Like, you're going to need to re-up all those guys. This was the shuffling of the decks to be in a position to do that, and then probably go back over the second apron.
You know who it's going to be for that $10 to $14 million range, right?
Is it Rob? No, tell me it's Rob.
Oh. He's coming on the minimum. No, it's going to be your boy. It's going to be your boy Mamu.
You think so? I would love Mamu on mid-level.
That's what we've been talking about in the Discord. Steven flagged it a couple weeks ago. It's like, he's been really good for the Raptors. He's a free agent.
Yep. I wanted him on the minimum so freaking bad.
If they had him as well as Cater, then like that would have really rounded out this rotation. But I think that's the perfect type of guy. Guy still like in his 20s, size, shooting, can give you a bit of 4,
it also wouldn't
5.
surprise me if they give like Vooch a 2-year, 20 mil, second-year team option, and then they use $5 million for, a taxpayer mid-level type salary guy, a little bit more than a minimum.
Sure.
So like maybe Mamu can get the $5 million from that or something like that.
I would flip it. I would flip that. He's like Mamu gets the 10 and Vooch gets the 5.
Okay, either way, but
Yeah.
but that's like,
But that's what we're
Vooch
talking
has a
about.
good
Yeah.
like I think people think when they hear they have to stay under the luxury tax, they can't add. They have up to
They
probably
can.
around close to 15 million to
Yeah.
spend and still stay under the luxury tax. It's just who is that going to be?
So yeah, they can add that guy and they can add their first round pick and still stay under, which is very exciting. So it's like you got the free agent, the first round pick, and the development of Ugo and Amari.
Right.
Like that's your and Jason. The one that actually makes the most difference of all of it is Jason Tatum getting further and further away from his injury and further into his recovery. Because that's.
But the point is that they're able to add and improve their team while maintaining their financial flexibility, so that when it comes time to really pounce on something, they can.
Yes.
Or if a high salary player becomes available, you have the 27 million exemption to go back over the luxury tax if it's worth it.
Yeah.
You just gave yourself the option to go either route while still contending for a championship. That is literally the ideal scenario of how you would want that, to go from we are gutting our roster from the second apron to where you are right now. What would be a more, ideal path to what they've done?
Yeah. There's a reason that there's like 26 other franchises, fans right now that are sick of the demonic job that Brad Stevens has pulled off in the last 9 months or whatever it is.
But now you have to execute on it, right? Like you've set yourself up for the summer, but you got to do something with it. I think his track record shows when you give him options, he knows how to pull the trigger and build a roster. So it's like you have no reason to doubt him.
Joe Mazzulla, Brad Stevens, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, the rest we don't have to worry about.
Well, I don't know. They're still pretty important. That Derrick White.
Well, no, we don't have to worry about in that whatever it is and whatever ends up happening with it is usually
the right
kind of the right thing, because we'll just 3 and deeper in a couple more Ron Harper Juniors or Onemius Caters. Greeny, it's been a pleasure. In a night that was a loss, this was still a fun one. Another big one coming up against the Thunder.
Do you think they hold Shea under 20?
No. God, no.
I looked it up. I was like, oh, maybe they've done well. He's had 30 in his last 5 straight against the Celtics.
No chance.
No.
Yeah, maybe I'm assuming Jaylen, if he plays, will take the assignment and try and stop him. It's one of the most impressive things. To me, it's more impressive than the LeBron 10-point game streak.
Well, it's a big deal when someone scores 20 points in 10 straight games.
Yeah.
So then to multiply that by 12 is and as a guard.
Crazy.
You know what I mean? Crazy. So it's he has a 67% true shooting percentage as a guard. I don't know. I just think that's so wildly impressive.
Yeah.
You're robbing yourself of something truly special if you just can't accept that SGA is good at basketball. It's okay to say. I
was talking about this with my dad because there was, I think, in last year's playoffs, I thought there was a fair-ish Tatum case to be on the same level as Shea. Mm-hmm. And now whether it's fair or not, Tatum hasn't had the chance to elevate because of his injury, but Shea has gone up another level from last year's playoffs.
Yeah, I mean,
somehow
the production is the production. The production is the production, and it's okay to say that there's other good players in the NBA.
It's okay.
It's a pretty good league.
I think it's okay for Jason Tatum to not have been as good as this version of Shea, who I think everyone's talking about might be the best player in the NBA right now.
Now, I will say, I think that he can match the ceiling.
Yeah,
but I think what sets Shea apart and makes him an alien is the consistency.
Is the streak? Then that's
right. Yeah. Right. I don't think his when Tatum is at his peak, I think he can compete with any player on any given night in the league. What separates the levels of the best, the first team, because there's even levels within the first NBA group, it's the consistency. And that's just where the Jokic and the SGAs are they're just
that's
a different level.
There's no one else there right now. It's them two, and then there's a group of I won't even mention Tatum, but it's Wemby might be in his own little tier right now. to be really interesting to see him in the playoffs. Anyway, we already said goodbye. We'll be here all night. Greeny, it's been a pleasure. Everybody in the chat. Shout out everybody that's come over from the Garden Report as well. Shout out those guys for and Xanis for promoting us. But yeah, till next time, go Celtics.
Cool.
Peace.